Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today, October 21st, 2024. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. So let's give a shout out here to some of the people in the chat. It's great to see you, Nikos Mas, Valerie, good to see you, Taz, much love. Thank you all for joining me. Christy, good to see you. NA, much love. All right. Let's start by talking a little bit about our astrology. So today our moon has moved again and we're now entering that energy of Cancer. Oh, good to see you, Mother Rhea, all the love. Good to see you, Isaac, much love. This energy of Cancer is so beautiful, right? It's that emotional energy, but in that family zone. Now is going to be a time when security and family is going to be on your mind to a really intense degree. You're going to feel really connected to those that you love in both a needing sense and also in a deeply connected moment. We do have to be careful. This can be very intense energy and can bring fear if we lack security or if we are uncertain of the love in our life. But we have this beautiful energy of that Libra, the balance, the justice, those scales. And with that Sun and Libra energy, we can take this Cancer and we can keep it in that balanced, harmonious mode where we can deeply feel these loving connections. We can be grounded in the family, but not too worried or stressed. And that is the energy, that is the goal, that's what we're trying to achieve. Beautiful, right? And let's talk for a moment about the title today. Be a witness and let nature carry you forward. So I had drawn the moon card. The moon is really beautiful energy. It's that unconscious, it's the divine feminine, it's the great reflector. It is the depths of the self. It is that seat of all knowledge and transformation, right? It is the power behind the throne, the true sun, right? Beautiful energy and so profound. But when I was reflecting on this energy, what I kept getting the sense of is this need to move in flow and to go through life, accepting life as it is, not resisting it, but instead doing what we need to do, learning the lessons, confronting them head on, taking responsibility, and trying to engage in that refinement, being a witness. Life is about experiencing it, and you have to witness and experience and learn everything, right? Be present in your life, engage with it. Try to learn all that you can about the universe and all that's around you and move forward, ever into generation, ever into creation, ever learning, ever growing. And I wanted to read to you a beautiful poem. It's called Mutability by Percy Shelley. It goes like this. The flower that smiles today, tomorrow dies. All that we wish to stay tempts and then flies. What is the world's delight? Lightning that mocks the night, brief even as bright. Virtue, how frail it is. Friendship, how rare. Love, how it sells poor bliss for proud despair. But we, though soon they fall, survive their joy in all, which ours we call. While skies are blue and bright, whilst flowers are gay, whilst eyes that change ere night make glad the day, whilst yet the calm hours creep, dream thou, and from thy sleep, then wake to weep. Life is ever changing, ever mutable, ever in flow, and you must embrace it and experience it. Like we have been saying this last week, right? You can either be that rudder that goes with the flow or that rigid rudder that resists. But either way, the river is taking you. All right. Beautiful. We are now going to go to our Ganapati Oracle. Ganesha Ganapati is that Lord of beginnings, the divine child, guardian of the threshold, and master of the Ganas. And we ask them to send us a message to inspire us this evening and ensure that our words are heard by those who need to hear them. So, Ganapati Ganesha, what is the message? Spiritual quest. Spiritual quest. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And we've been receiving this a couple times this week. Spiritual quest. Profound energy, powerful energy, going on that journey, recognizing that your life is a quest for refinement and experience, and that all that you experience is a result of your actions and must be faced and overcome. Must be faced and overcome. That is your quest. Your dragons are in front of you. You don't need to look anywhere. All right, beautiful. Let us now go to our sortes. For those of you unaware, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination through literature. And it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we invoke the spirits of the muses, the goddesses of inspiration, and we ask them to send us a message through the text. So muses, inspire us this evening. Guide my hand. What is the message? The picture of a woman passing fair. And can a woman have such loveliness? And from her living body lying there comes there indeed all heaven my soul to bless. Has earth a gift so exquisite and rare? Wow, that's beautiful. The picture of a woman passing fair. A young virginal bride, that young, youthful image of beauty. And can a woman have such loveliness, and from her living body lying there comes there indeed all heaven my soul to bless? Has earth a gift so exquisite and rare? Yes, that is the gift, right? The beauty. But you must nurture and care for that beauty, right? For that princess so that she can grow and become a queen. You must respect her as an individual of something worthy to stand on her own, right? It is when we try to possess that beauty and we squander it, that is the issue. Let's continue. We are now going to go to Dante, the Divine Comedy. So muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Dante? The two poets went near to the tree, and a voice said, inside the leaves, cried, be chary of this food. Then it said, Mary thought more about how the marriage feast might be made honorable and complete than of her own mouth, which now intercedes for you all. And the Roman women in ancient times were content to drink water, and Daniel despised food and gained wisdom. The first age was beautiful like gold. It made acorns tasty to the hungry, and every stream nectar to the thirsty. Honey and locusts were the meat that fed John the Baptist in the desert, and so he is glorious and great, as the gospel shows you. Be chary of this food. Mary thought more about how the marriage feast might be made honorable and complete than of her own mouth, which now intercedes for you all. And the Roman women in ancient times were content to drink water, and Daniel despised food and gained wisdom. The first age was beautiful like gold. It made acorns tasty to the hungry, and every stream nectar to the thirsty. Honey and locusts were the meat that fed John the Baptist in the desert, and he is glorious and great, as the gospel shows you. What is the message here is about greed and about gluttony and about the pursuit of those things, right? Recognize that spice is what drives commerce, that the desire for good tasting food has led to so much destruction, right? If we could only be satisfied and enjoy what we have been given as those in the golden age could. See the nectar in the water and be contented. Our life would be so much more pleasant. Instead, we have to strive constantly for that new, ever greater pleasure. And these pleasures lead to such degradation and destruction. Wow. Let us continue. Don Juan in hell. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Don Juan? And were you not the happier for the experience, Senior Juan? And were you not happier for the experience, Senior Juan? Life is always better in memory, is it not? And those lessons learned are always so profound and deep. And often, even if the experiences are awful, we wouldn't give them up. For there are our lives, our lived reality, right? Beautiful. Interesting. Let's continue. All right. We are now going to go to Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll and Through the Looking Glass. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lewis Carroll? I know what you're thinking about, said Tweedledum, but it isn't so know-how. Contrariwise, continued Tweedledee, if it was so, it might be, and if it were so, it would be. But as it is, it isn't, it ain't. That's logic. And this really reminds me of Dionysus and frogs and that magic of antiphrasis, right? Contrariwise. If it was so, it might be, and if it were so, it would be. But as it is, it isn't, and it ain't. That logic. That's logic. Circling around in a circle down the drain, right? Interesting. Let's continue. We are now going to go to Theurgy and the Soul. The Neoplatonism of Iamblichus. All right. Muses, what is the message from Iamblichus? Hupraxis, as the word hupo and arcane itself indicates, signifies the first principle of every hypostasis. It is, as it were, a sort of foundation or substructure previously established for the structure as a whole and for each part. Huparxis is simplicity anterior to all things. It is the one itself which pre-exists beyond all things and is the cause of every ousia, but is not yet itself ousia. Wow. Huparxis, hupo and arcane. The structure as a whole and for each part. The one and the many in a word. Interesting. Let's continue. We are now going to go, let's see here, to The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Sylvia Plath? Inspire us this evening. I saw the glimmer of bare skin like a pale veil separating two bloody-minded adversaries. Slut, the word hissed by my ear. Slut, the dust cleared, and I had a full view of the battle. I began to writhe and bite. Marco weighed me to the earth. Slut. I gouged at his leg with the sharp heel of my shoe. He turned, fumbling for the hurt. Wow. I saw the glimmer of bare skin like a pale veil separating two bloody-minded adversaries. What began as a love affair turned into a battle. Slut, the word hissed by my ear. Slut, the dust cleared and I had a full view of the battle. I began to writhe and bite. Marco weighed me to the earth. Slut. I gouged at his leg with the sharp heel of my shoe. He turned, fumbling for the hurt. Wow. Intense. But again, right, you have to resist and speak truth to power, right? Wow. Wild. Dark imagery there. Let's continue. L'Autrement, Malador, and other poems. Muses, what is the message from Le Comte de l'Autrement? Inspire us this evening. Be that as it may, cross rapidly these abandoned and silent rooms with their emerald paneling, but tarnished memorial bearings in which the glorious statues of my ancestors are kept. These marble bodies are incensed with you. Avoid their glassy looks. It is a word of advice from the tongue of their one and only descendant. See how their arms are raised in a provocative attitude of defense, their heads thrust back proudly. Wow. These marble bodies are incensed with you. Avoid their glassy look. It is the word of advice from the tongue of one of their only descendant. See how their arms are raised in a provocative attitude of defense, their heads thrust back proudly. All for that individuality and that ego, right? To survive even after death. Wow. Let us continue. We are now going to go to Edgar Allan Poe. Muses, what is the message from Edgar Allan Poe? Inspire us. As soon as we lost sight of him, we proceeded, Peters and myself being in my mate's boat, on our cruise around the coast looking for seal. In this business, we were occupied about 3 weeks, examining with great care every nook and corner, not only of Krugland's land, but of the several small islands. Our labors, however, were not crowned with any important success. We saw a great many first seals, but they were exceedingly shy, and with great exhortation, we could only procure 350 skins in all. And this is kind of a true image in a lot of light, right? When we go out and you see great wealth on the horizon and you strive with all of your might to gain it, and yet you return back with nothing or little, just enough to get by, right? But you see all that wealth and yet you lust after that wealth, right? This is that image we keep seeing. Could you be contented with enough to sustain you? Or are you constantly searching for more seal? Do you see the seal on the horizon and think you must possess them? Right? Wow. Let's continue. Isaac Asimov, Robot Visions. Muses, what is the message from Asimov? Inspire us this evening. Have either of you seen I'm Positive I Had It Somewhere? Oh, there it is. She ran to a corner of one bookcase and picked up an object of intricate metal webbery, dumbbell-shaped and hollow, with various shaped metal pieces inside, each hollow, just too large to be able to fall out of the web. As she picked it up, the metal pieces within moved and stuck together, clicking pleasantly. It struck Lanning that the object was a kind of robotic version of a baby rattle. Is this the Strophilos of Hecate? Is this the spinning top that distracts Zagreus so that he can be ripped apart by the Titans? Wow. Wild. Let's continue. All right, let's go to Brave New World, Aldous Huxley. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Huxley? Inspire us this evening. In the cinematographic twilight, Bernard risked a gesture, which in the past, even total darkness would hardly have emboldened him to make. Strong in his new importance, he put his arm around the mistress's waist. It yielded willowly. Wow. There's some deep imagery here. Recognize the twilight. Okay. And twilight language. We talked about this on my dragon tongue stream. Dion brought up the twilight language, or mudras. And these are hand signs that were used by hunters during the hunt originally, when you could just barely make out each other's hands and you couldn't say anything lest you scared your prey. Right? And so you would make these gestures to each other in the moonlight before you would go and pursue the hunt. And this later evolved into the sacred mudras of the aesthetics. Interesting, right? Wow. In the cinematographic twilight, Bernard risked a gesture, which in the past, even total darkness would hardly have emboldened him to make. Strong in his new importance, he put his arm around the head mistress's waist. In the twilight, in that moment, he can reach out to the head mistress and take her by the waist. Right? Listen for those with ears to hear. In the twilight, in that moment, that's the most magical time. That is when you can truly connect to that muse, right? Beautiful. Wow. And you can take her by the waist if she allows it. All right, let's continue. Okay, what we got here? Okay, we're going to go to the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lao Tzu? Those who possessed in the highest degree those attributes did nothing with a purpose and had no need to do anything. Doesn't this tell you everything? Those who possessed in the highest degree those attributes did nothing but with a purpose. They did nothing but with a purpose and had no need to do anything. Wow. Interesting. Wild. All right. We're now going to go to 10 Plays by Euripides. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Euripides? Does your mother's husband know that you are still a virgin? He does not. I've concealed it from him, kept it quiet. Wow. Does your mother's husband know that you are still a virgin? He does not. I have concealed it from him, kept it quiet. She hid her chastity from her stepfather. Concealed it, hid that imagery from him. Why? There's some creepy insinuations there, possibly. The House of the Dead. Let's continue. Muses, what is the message from Jeremy Reed in The House of the Dead? Aha, aha, aha. But it was one man, a psycho killer, a githless, a homicidal weirdo who'd got him out of his head on excess, booze, toxic substances, and hacked him up like Charlie Manson's killers to raw meat. Aha, aha, aha. But it was one man, a psycho killer, a githless, a homicidal weirdo who'd got him out of his head on excess, booze, toxic substances, and hacked him up like Charlie Manson's killers to raw meat. Wow. Brutal imagery, right? But that's what can happen if you engage in that excess, you know? There's power in the drugs, but there's also the worst debauchery imaginable, right? Can you walk that middle path? Do you know yourself and your limitations, right? Wow, interesting. Okay, what do we want now? Let's see. Lorca, 3 tragedies. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lorca? Dove, awaken in the dawn. The shadowy bells are shaken. Again, we have that moment of the dawn when the night breaks, when the dawn rises. This is the magical moment. That's when the dove awakens, when the rebirth happens. Then the shadowy bells are shaken. Wow, beautiful. Rise with the dawn, people. Be present and perceive that morning star. Byron, selected poetry. Muses, what is the message from Byron? And so I interfered, and with the best intentions, but their treatment was not kind. I think the foolish people were possessed, for neither of them could I ever find, although their porter afterwards confessed, but that's no matter, and the worst's behind. For little Juan or me threw downstairs a pail of housemaid's water unawares. Wow. Let me read this one more time. And so I interfered with the best of intentions, but their treatment was not kind. And so I interfered and interjected and passed judgment. I think the foolish people were possessed, for neither of them could I ever find, although their porter afterwards confessed, but that's no matter, and the worst's behind. For little Juan or me threw downstairs a pail of housemaid's water unawares. Wow. I think the foolish people were possessed, for neither of them could I ever find. They weren't really there. A pail of housemaid's water unaware. Interesting. Wow. All right. We are now going to hop to our tarot proper. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm, and I would truly appreciate it. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out, snappydts@gmail.com, or you can find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. All right. And we are going to use the Thoth Tarot of Aleister Crowley and later Frida Harris. And we invoke that energy of Saturn and ask them to dissect our life, to cut it up and put it upon the plate, and to show us our interconnections and how we can best move and flow, how we can overcome the conflict, and how we can manifest our true will. And we had a card shoot out, and our center card today is the Knight of Discs. The Knight of Discs. Powerful, intense energy, right? This is about rising to the occasion and being the one who takes that stage, to be that builder, to be that one who builds the city, who does the work, who is that doer of action, who takes the burden, right? Who does the work necessary for that transformation. Profound energy, hardworking energy. And it's about being that mature adult, taking responsibility, tending to the family, tending to your loved ones, right? Let's see where this energy is going. Beautiful. This is a part of our growth. We are trying to become this person. We are in the process of that magical act of creation where we are growing and becoming responsible, right? Becoming that architect of our own life, the one who can build the tower, the one who can meet the queen as her equal, right? Because to stand next to that queen of discs, you must be a knight. And look, it is for that love, right? In order to engage in that love to its full extent, that love is calling you to take responsibility, to be that outgoing builder, to be that projector. Wow. Profound energy. Let's see where this is going. Strife, conflict. You see, this is about moving from the balance of the force and then engaging in frivolous action, but not yet in that victory energy of the six, right? The strife arises because we are not fully ourselves and we are engaged in frivolous, action. We are lashing out at others. We are lashing out at ourselves, right? There is frustration because we cannot realize our passion. But we need to recognize that in order to gain that passion, in order to win, to achieve that victory, that desire that we want, we have to refine this. We have to move beyond the five. We have to disengage from these lashing out and instead focus in on what we truly desire. And when we do that, we can transform that five into the six of victory, right? But if you cannot be focused, you will be falling for BS. You will be in strife. You will lash out at those you love and those who help you, right? And look, the knight is not one who engages in strife. They have no time for strife. They are building in the earth, intending to the garden. They have responsibility, right? The key to overcoming this strife is learning to be at peace and to accept where you are at the present. You know, another big thing is that this knight is the one who's doing the work. They're doing the work that is needed now, not the work that is dreamed of tomorrow, right? All of the minutia, all of the building blocks that are necessary. If you wish to manifest the tower, you must think about the tower as an ongoing long-term project and from that mature builder perspective. Plan, organize, do what is necessary. This is not a transformation that happens today. This is a transformation that happens over a lifetime, right? And you have to be at peace with this fact because that is the only way you will build the tower is through that work ethic. It's through that slow building, right? And we need to accept our present and what needs to be done and take responsibility, right? We need to overcome the strife. We have to refine our passion, move it to that six so that we can enact our victory. And that comes from focus, from being at peace, not engaging in frivolous fighting, not in the strife energy where you're lashing out at others because you are not satisfied, right? Because you are not achieving what you desire. So you lash out. That's the strife, right? Frustration, rather than doing what is necessary to transform your present. And look, the hangman. Recognize where you are, Odysseus. You are on the mast. You have gazed into the abyss, and now you must climb down. You have learned your lessons. You have done the work, but now the time is to make the active change. You have to transform. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to become the knight. All right, let us continue. What have I been saying? Now is the time for tending of the garden, doing the work, being in that energy of prudence, the one who builds, who ensures the fruit is healthy, that the tree grows and continues to produce into the future. You have to do that monotonous, hard work, that work in the present, that work that is needed today, right? There's a deep cruelty here, though. There's an unwillingness to face the present moment and what needs to be done in order to engage with that transformation, right? There is a desire to not want to have to face the self. But there is only the self, and we have to face ourselves. We have to overcome this overthinking. We have to let go of self-cruelty, and we have to transform, do the hard, diligent work, right? And it's going to take many, many, many times, right? It's not something that's going to happen overnight. To build the tower, you have to be in that process of building. When you're given the princess energy, right, you have to nurture her until she, for the rest of her life, for the rest of your life, right? A child is an obligation that doesn't end. And that's what it is to build the tower as well. Life is that obligation, right? And it's about taking responsibility and facing your own life, facing it head on, accepting the responsibilities, and building and tending to your own tower, doing what is necessary, right? The hard work, the daily work, getting up in the morning, right? Meditating, doing your prayers, right? If you want to do this kind of magic, you got to be up and see the dawn. You know, you got to be out and see the twilight. You know, those who succeed do, and they do it daily. What is it all about? It's about drawing down that star. It's about gaining our wish. And what did we wish for? We wished for love. And we wished to be that mature knight, the one who can protect the princess, the one who can meet the queen, right? How do you get there? Through that refinement, through that self-sacrifice, through that hard work in building, through that sharing and combining of perspectives, right? We need to learn to be at peace, though, and let go of the cruelty. Wow. All right. I'm now going to flip so you guys can see the full square. But once again, before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. I would also appreciate comments. If you guys find that this resonates, leave a comment. And if you're at all interested, please come join us on the Myth and Lore Discord. We're always having a good time. It's a beautiful community. We'd love to have you. All right, let's take a look at our full square here. Okay, here we go. All right, that's about as good as I'm getting. All right, here we are. So we'll start here with the magus, right? What is the magus part of this whole process of being the magician, part of this whole process of doing that wish fulfillment, right, of reimagining ourselves, begins with becoming at peace with ourselves. You have to accept where you're at, right? You have to stop being so cruel to oneself, right? The Nine of Swords, that cruelty is so profound. It's such a powerful, intense energy of overthinking and holding oneself back, right? Of imprisoning oneself. It's the most thinking one can do. The nine is that most powerful number in the Pythagorean system, right? We want to go back to being at peace, to being in that shared perspective with the lover, right? In balanced harmony. We have to reset this whole thing. And we do it by first forgiving ourselves, and then by reinventing ourselves. And we reinvent ourselves into that knight, right? The one who takes responsibility, the one who is that mature actor, the one who can tend to the tower, right? In spite of the strife, in spite of the challenges. Let's continue. We have that love, right? Love is what's going to force us to go through the transformation. And that desire to connect to that great mother energy is also bringing us that love. All of this is connected on many levels. Love in the physical, love in that sense of the goddess drawing her down, that Aphrodite, and self-love, right? The strength to pursue that arati, to recognize when we've fallen short, and to do something about it. To not simply wither and die upon the tree, right? The key to the hangman is that you climb down and you do what is necessary to overcome. You've gained that knowledge. Now, what are you going to do with it, right? You're going to use it to draw down that star so that you can be in that loving connection, so that you can be at peace, so that you can be that mature person who takes responsibility and manifests the tower. Let's look at our crosses. The key to overcoming this self-cruelty is going through that process of being self-critical and recognizing where we have fallen short and making a change, right? This means not doing what we have done in the past. This means stopping actions that are harmful and taking responsibility and admitting that we've done them, right? Instead of overthinking, it's about doing and making that active change so that we can be that outgoing, hardworking knight. All right. And last, we cannot achieve our dreams. We cannot manifest love. We cannot connect to that goddess unless we are at peace with the self, unless we are in flow with the universe. And this peace comes when we balance our perspective with another and we engage in that process of creation, right? When we work together for something greater than ourselves, we can become that knight and take responsibility, right? We can then manifest our dreams. But we have to make that active change. We have to be in that process of tending to our tree, tending to the garden, making sure everything is done, doing what is necessary now in order to transform through the future, right? It's that hard, long work. If you want that love, if you want that Aphrodite, you have to go through this. You have to become that knight, and you're going to have to tend to the tree, and it's going to be hard work. But it begins with peace. It begins with believing that you can do it and letting the cruelty go. You have to first love the self and engage with that partner to balance this energy out, right? That's the message. This was an intense one. I'm feeling it today. All right. You know, it's that message of We gotta take responsibility. If love is what we desire, then we have to show up as the knight who's capable, right, of providing. All right. We are now going to go and do our final sortes. All right. We are going to go back to Euripides. All right. Muses. What is the message from Euripides? Inspire us. Then they roared out a yell of joy and smote the brine. They then roared out a yell of joy and smote the brine. They went out on an adventure. They yelled out in joy and they went out on an adventure. That's the Fool card, right? Leap into creation and into experience. Do what is necessary. Be that witness and let nature carry you. All right, everyone. Peace and love. Thank you for joining me, and I hope I see you again tomorrow. Take care.